Hello, everyone.
Hello, welcome.
Hello, welcome to this Tech Talk, Your Future as a Data Analyst with Andrea Turcu, Data Career Coach. So let's wait maybe 1 or 2 more minutes so more people can join us.
Yes, great. Thank you for the invitation once again. I'm really happy to be here and very excited for the subject for today. I see you have enrolled yourselves in a big number. So, welcome everyone in the chat. Hi, Juan. Hi, Jessica. Welcome. Nice to meet you. Great. Hi, Hector. Nice to meet you too. Happy to see you here. That's awesome. I am very happy that you are writing in the chat because we will be using this as our main means of asking questions, and I will take them at the end of the presentation and answer to all of them. So please don't hesitate to be as communicative as possible in the chat. Like, it's a very dear to me subject, and I'm very eager to hear your thoughts about that also.
Yes,
Hi,
sure.
Shirag.
Actually, you have two boxes, one of chat and the other that says questions. So feel free to write in the chat, or if you have any questions during the presentation for Andrea, you can write it in the question box.
Yes.
So I think we can start. So Andrea will tell us a little bit more about data analysis, about the state of the job market, about the skills that also you will need as a data analyst, and in general, what you can expect joining in this data market. So Andrea, thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you. Okay, so I will start sharing my screen. Once again, thank you so much for being here. Hi, Shima. Welcome. Thank you for joining. And yeah, I'm going to share my screen because today we are going to discuss a very interesting topic. And this one is your future as a data analyst. So I was contacted by Wagon to discuss about this topic because I think this topic is extremely important. There are a lot of people who are asking me questions about how to integrate the role of a data analyst. Sometimes, what types of skills does this role require? So I think it's very interesting for you to learn more about the context. So allow me to present myself. Um, I'm going to scroll to the screen. So my name is Andrea Turcu. I have been a data scientist for more than 6 years now. I am very passionate about transmitting information in the data domain. Demystifying and teaching data science concepts is something that I have been doing for years now. And I'm interested in actively helping people to achieve their data potential. Because I think nowadays data is extremely important. It comes actually in the world of the job market as a very important a very important skills to have in your arsenal. And so being able to give conferences on this domain, to teach courses. I even taught for Le Wagon like for more than 1 year. 1 years now, I have been also assisting colleagues at Le Wagon. Being able to mentor people in this domain brings me a lot of joy, and I really want to continue doing that because there are more and more people who are interested in this domain. And I really think that by knowing your data, you get a better chance in this competitive market at finding a good job position, at having fun while working on that position, and also at increasing your salary along the way. And so, more about me. I am the head of global training department at H2O AI, which is a very big AI platform. I'm specialized in working on AI platforms. I also have been a president to the Lyon Data Science Association. So I'm based in France, and I organize events around data related topics. And from 2019, I've been a freelance data scientist instructor in this domain. So in my spare time, I really like to get in touch with as many people as possible. And because of that, I see that I can also help people find their data role. So I have founded an entity called Grid Data, which has this logo right here, which is all about giving personalized data career coaching advice. I have a lot of clients who have been very happy with the way our personalized sessions went on. And that's why I'm actually here today also to share with you some of my tips and tricks to integrate a position that you might be interested in, such as data analysis. Also, I give B2B conferences on data science concepts and tools, data democratization, and data literacy, because I think even though a company is not directly working with data, a company can always leverage its data to improve its decisions process and to improve its customer satisfaction rates. So I have seen a lot of companies who have improved in this domain of leveraging data and understanding more about its data and about the data that the clients provided. And these companies are always the ones that are more successful in staying ahead of the game. Because in this competitive market, you see there are companies who are not always, unfortunately, able to adapt. And it actually means that they are going to stay behind and they are not going to be as adaptive. And unfortunately, they are going to disappear. So we really want to avoid that. And so that's why I am going to discuss today about a couple of topics. One of them is what is the current state of the data market? Why should I be interested in that? Why should I become a data analyst? And which are the essential skills for data analysts? And at the end, we are going to have some final thoughts and some Q&As. So please don't hesitate to ask your questions in the chat of this session. I'm going to be very, very happy to share my thoughts and my insights, as well as my experience with you at the end of the session. And so for people who are inquiring my LinkedIn account, I'm going to share it with you at the end in the chat, but you can also take this QR code and connect on my Linktree, where I have a small LinkedIn logo that you can click on so that you can have access to my profile. Okay, so let's begin. What is the current state of the data market? And here I'm going to make a small introduction about what does it mean, data market. Why is it important to know about data nowadays, and which are the key players and which are the trends in the data market? Why is it important to do that? Well, because actually by knowing what are the demands, we are going to know what are the job offerings, and we are better going to adapt ourselves to get a good position among these key players and to stay in trends with the data market itself. And so data market, it means that actually it is an ecosystem where data is collected, processed, analyzed, and leveraged for various purposes. As I always like to say, data is the digital gold of our era. Without data nowadays, we cannot do too many things. We cannot stay competitive. We cannot understand what the people want, what our clients want, how can we actually talk to them, and how to adapt to their needs. And so data is everywhere. Data has become the cornerstone of the modern society, and it drives decisions across all industries. So it's just now, after a couple of decades, that we see how important data is. Whenever you are doing anything on any page, you are creating more data and more information. And this information is collected by people who are interested from the corporate side to learn about you more information, to understand what are your desires, what are your needs, and to be able to predict how you are going to respond to different types of ads or offerings. Because at the end of the day, as you might all know, if you're using a product but you're not paying for that specific product, you are actually the product. So giving data from yourself is creating more information about your profile. It helps you better find your way around this digital world, but it also makes you a bit more open and vulnerable to uh, possible companies who might want to use this information and improve their business based on you. And of course, data is so important nowadays. So for example, businesses, governments, all sorts of organizations, they rely on data to gain insights, make informed decisions, and create value. So when we are taking a look at the data itself, we don't understand too much because mainly these are rows of information with a lot of numbers and text on it. What we are interested in is to have a higher level view of the data and actually see if we see patterns in this data, if we can visualize and translate this data into nice and comprehensive visualizations, and if we can take decisions based on this particular data. And so growth and importance of data in today's world is, as you might observe, extremely palpable. Like it's clear, it's there. With the advancement of the technical, with the technologies a couple of decades ago, we started to have more and more data growth because actually we have more place now to store our data. And so everyone is interested in collecting and storing that particular data. So data creation is at an all-time high due to digitalization, IoT, or social media. Wherever you go and you read something, well, you read something about data in general. Well, this is information stored in a particular system that if people know how to use, they can really make a difference in taking a decision about how to improve their jobs. So decision making also is very important because as you collect more data, well, you will have more data driven decision making, which empowers organizations to optimize processes and seize opportunities. And not only this, but as I said previously, the more data you give about yourself, well, the more you are going to show the potential users what are your preferences. So they are going to be able to adapt even better in a personalized manner to give you personalized experiences and to improve the customer satisfaction and loyalty. Because at the end of the day, if we like a product better because that product adapts to our needs better, we are going to be loyal to that particular product. And here is the place where a lot of companies are not able to adapt and where a lot of companies are going to fail into leveraging the data and the market. And so some key players and trends in the data market are, of course, the tech giants. So not only they are tech giants, but they are giants in general, because these companies like Google, Facebook, Amazon, and Microsoft are almost the biggest companies in the world. Like, I'm not sure if in the top 10 biggest companies in the world, there are too many other companies that are outside the tech world. So they are major players who have learned how to leverage the data, how to collect it, and to utilize massive amounts of data. And they are here to stay because they are always improving their customer experience through collecting even more data. There are also some other firms, such as data analytics firms, who are organizations like SAS, Tableau, IBM, who specialize in data analysis tools and services. And so you are going to see that one of my tips and tricks is actually to learn more about them and to learn more about their functionalities and their tools in order to have this technical skills advantage in front of other job hunters that are out there. And there are also startups. Numerous startups are disrupting the data landscape with innovative approaches to data collection and analysis. So many key players that are actually here to stay, and they are creating more job offers in this domain. And this is one of the reasons why maybe you are so interested in learning more how to improve your skills as a data analyst, just because there's a lot of demand in this area. So I talked a lot about the data market and about the fact that there are opportunities for you to take, but why become a data analyst yourself? Well, there are a lot of reasons. Let's have an overview of what data analysis means. So data analysis means actions that are helping someone to inspect, clean, transform, and model the data for insights and decisions. So when we talk about data analysis, we talk about the data, of course, meaning being habituated with with collecting data and taking a look at that data and understanding some of the patterns from that data, representing these patterns in a nice visual, and giving more insights about these patterns so that you can actually leverage based on them decision processes. And so some of the core activities of the data analysis domain are collecting the data, cleaning the data, exploring it, visualizing it, and interpreting it. And that's what data analysis is all about, is about demystifying the domain of data and demystifying what data actually is, big chunks of information about a particular subject, and transforming this data or translating this data in something digestible, comprehensible for people who don't have data knowledge to understand about. And so that's where maybe you should be starting to look about these activities as a means for you to leverage your skills, if you have any in this domain. If not, well, this is the moment where you should be starting to learn more about what does it mean to collect data, what does it mean to clean this data. So these words that I have put here are extremely important words about the data analysis domain and are words that are always going to follow you in your data analytics journey. And so the role of a data analyst is actually bridging the gap between raw data and actionable insights, meaning demystifying information that you would find in databases, for example, and trying to explain it and represent it with graphs and in beautiful colors in such a way that anyone can understand that information. There is a great book called How to Lie with Statistics, where actually the author gives a bit of insights about the fact that sometimes people who know this domain and know how to represent visualizations can also manipulate these visuals so that the public can understand different things based on it. But if you have the knowledge of interpreting the data, you might actually have a head start in this domain and be able to disseminate the information that is true from the one that is misleading. So that's why, in my opinion, understanding and being able to interpret graphs is not only something that is required in a data analysis position, but also it's something that is going to help you throughout any of the journeys that you would have, where in front of yourself you would sit at the desk with a PC and you would need to work on something particular. So there are a lot of opportunities and demand for the data analysts. And we are living in a data-driven world. Organizations across many industries, all of the industries, require actually skilled data analysts to extract information and insights from their data. And here is where actually you might come in to just give more clarification about their data in a way that the decision makers can understand without them being able to actually read and interpret the data themselves. So that's why I like to say that the data analyst is a demystifier and gives more information about the hidden world that lies in the data. And the data analyst is a facilitator that takes this hidden world and through nice representations and simple representations can make it appear in front of everyone. It's a bit of a romantic way to think about the data analyst job, but maybe that's why you're here, just because it's interesting to have a different perspective about what data analysis means for you. So what I like about this role is that the data analyst is very, very versatile. So data analysts are needed in finance, healthcare, marketing, e-commerce, you name it. All the domains need data analysts and good data analysts. And for you to entry on positions that are required by these domains, it's not mandatory to be aware of this particular domain knowledge. You can learn that knowledge through the data that you are going to explore. So that's why a data analysis position is one of the top recommendations that I would give to someone who doesn't have any technical experience, because actually it's easy to entry in this role, and you don't need a lot of domain knowledge when you start, because you are going to learn from the data what that domain is about. And you are not going to work alone in this domain. You are always going to be surrounded by people who have more domain knowledge and expertise than you, and they are there to help you, and they are there to help you interpret the results if they are too technical, let's say, with respect to domain knowledge. Job growth is one of the other reasons why I think data analysts are at the right place right now. The demand for data analysts is projected to grow rapidly due to increasing importance of data-driven decision making. So I see that everywhere there is more and more demand on this domain. I live in France, so I see a lot of cases where people come and ask me about whether I have some recommendations for profiles to make for this particular domain. And I suppose that in Spain, where Le Wagon Spain has organized this event, is also the case, United States as well. So this is a high demand for people with skills in data analysis. And I would highly encourage you, in case you want to start and have an entry in the data related job positions, well, some of them, these entries might be easier for you if you had knowledge that data analysts have. So that's something to think about, and I'll have more tips for this in a couple of slides. So what are the benefits and the rewards of being a data analyst? Well, there are a lot of them. I just put a couple of them that I find useful. If you are a data analyst or you become a data analyst, well, you are going to have a lot of skills in data manipulation, statistics, a bit of programming, and data visualization. And companies always search for these skills. So it's not important that you are not a master in all of them. It's important to have some basic comprehension of these domains at the beginning. And I guarantee you that when you are going to start to work on that domain, you are going to accumulate more and more experience, and you are going to have these valuable skills with you forever. Competitive salary is another reason why I think being a good data analyst helps, because data analysts enjoy competitive salaries due to their specialized skill sets, and there is a lot of job offerings, and that means that you will have the opportunity of being able to negotiate the salary if not too many competitors are on the market. So that's why I think being a data analyst definitely is better, because with the skills that you have, well, a lot of companies are eager to pay more. Career mobility is one other reason why I think being a data analyst at the beginning of your career or even later on is a good idea. Data analysts can transition to roles like data scientist, business analyst, and more. So I would suggest for you, if you want to integrate the role of a data scientist, but you don't have the programming skills, maybe a better choice would be to integrate the role of a data analyst and then transition after you have accumulated some experience to the role of data scientist. Because you will see some of the skills in data analysts, data scientists, data engineers, or data machine learning engineers are going to overlap. I'm going to show you, but they actually overlap at a certain point, because all the big AI platforms and data science platforms also have developed a lot of bricks for data analysis. That's why if you have a team full of data engineers, data scientists, analysts, etc., usually you could work on the same tool on different functionalities and collaborate in the team without needing any extra tools. So this is this part about why would it be rewarding to become a data analyst. And now let's talk a bit about some of the essential skills for the data analysts themselves. So there are analytical skills that you need to master. There are also some technical skills and communication skills, but this is not only related to the data analyst position. Any job that you are going to do and you are going to have some data component in it is a job that requires some skills, some technical skills and some communication skills. You might be in front of the customer, and that would require even more communication skills, or you might be in front of a computer all day long, which would require more technical skills. But at the end of the day, you should still have all of these three skills and components, because you would still need to communicate your findings to people. You would still need to have these findings through technical skills, and you would still need some analytical components so that you are able to understand what your findings are about. Okay, so let's begin with the first one. Let's take a look at this particular slide. Of course, there are always things that are going to overlap. So here, when talking about analytical skills, we have four main components that are important in what I call analytical skills. They can overlap, but the idea is always the same: using data to interpret and visualize, using data as a form of finding of information, for which you need to also analyze if that information is actually true or not, and the way through which you need to interpret it. So, data interpretation and visualization is a big component of what a data analyst is about. Extracting meaningful information from the data and presenting it visually for better understanding to people who don't have this capability of extracting the data is also a very important analytical skill to have, because this is the place where you are going to take decisions about which graph should I use so that I better show the information that I want to present, or so that it better showcases the decision that the decision makers or my superiors should take. Critical thinking and problem solving is a skill that is not only analytical, but is also soft skill that a lot of recruiters are searching for. I have been recruiting candidates for data related roles for a couple of years, and one of the things that I'm searching for when I have in front of me someone who wants a data related position is to actually see if they have this critical thinking component that I'm searching. So there are a lot of questions that I might use to understand that, but usually I ask, for example, tell me about a situation where you needed to take a decision between two options, and why. So this is the moment where people would give me information about maybe some problems that occurred at their in their project, some collaboration issues that they needed to fix, or some solutions that they came up with which were pretty out of the box. And that's something that I'm interested in searching, because I think a data analyst, for example, is someone who needs to be very adaptable, not only stay within the rules of what is given to them, but also try to think out of the box and come up with ideas and innovative findings so that we can make advancements with the information that we have at hand. Essential for translating data into actionable insights? Well, analytical skills are very, very important because, as I said before, you are the intermediator between the person who provides the database and the business individual who actually wants to use that database in the decision-making process. And so these persons might be sometimes the same, because the business individual could also be the one who gives you access to that particular database, or they might be different. But what they have in common is that component, which is I need insights from the data. You need to come up with solutions and give me some analytical insights so I can take a decision based on the information that you are providing to me. So once again, this is that intermediary component that comes in. And finally, we arrive at the technical skills point. Having a good technical level is crucial for data manipulation and analysis. And this is unfortunately sometimes for people who don't have this background, this computer science background, it's unfortunately the truth everywhere where we are talking about data. Because when we want to work with data, we need to know which are the means through which we can work with data, through which we can collect and store that particular data, modify and pre-process the data, extract the data, and actually start getting insights out of it. So you might say, well, Andrea, well, I'm just starting my data career. I don't have any technical skills, or I'm just entering on the job market because I finished my university a couple of weeks ago, or I'm in professional reconversion, so I actually have skills, but in different areas than the ones that I'm searching through this analytics position. Is there a problem? Can I do something about that? And of course, my answer would be yes. And here I go into the atypical education that I like to present to show to the people that actually you don't need extensive studies in the domain of computer science or data science in general to be able to integrate positions that you like. Because at the end of the day, what you need the most is actually an eagerness to learn a new domain, or maybe a patience to create projects and start onboarding on some tools that you are not accustomed with. So I have 2 diplomas in economics, in international economics and business and managerial economics. And as you see, this is not related to any data domain that I'm currently working on. When I had my master's degree, it was the first place where I started to learn about statistics. And so the idea of statistics was so great for me because I was good at math that I said, I really need to work with data, because economics and theoretical economics by themselves are not going to help me integrate a position that I am happy about. And so this is the place where I heard about this data science position. And fortunately, I was able to integrate it. I started as a junior data scientist, then I became a data scientist. I migrated on some other roles such as data manager and solution leader, or customer facing data science and data science instruction. And I was able throughout my years of experience to evolve. And so even though here I started as you, some of you might start without any technical experience, I was actually able along the way and through all these more than 6 years of experience to gain insights and experience and learn about wonderful functionalities of some of these platform tools that are out there. So these are some of the tools that I learned about, and some of these tools are mainly data science focused. And here, for example, I could give you an example. So for example, R can be used both as data science and data analytics, with a strong emphasis on statistical analysis and visualization. Then I have, for example, Python. I have learned how to code in Python at my second job. This is primarily data science, but also extensively used for data analytics due to its versatile libraries. Now I'm working in H2O AI, which is a data science platform, particularly for machine learning and predictive analytics. Previously, I worked for Data Robot, data science platform, particularly for automated machine learning processes. I also had the occasion to work for 1 year with the Data IQ platform, which is data science and data analytics, and provides a collaborative platform for both tasks. Orange Canvas, it can be used for data analytics, but I mainly used it for predicting purposes. SAS, historically used for data analytics, but it also encompasses data science capabilities. Tableau, data visualization and analytics with a focus on creating interactive and insightful visualizations. Power BI, which is mainly data visualization and analytics also, for creating interactive reports and dashboards, a lot of them. So I have worked with a lot of these platforms, and some of them are data science focused. But if I give an example, you will see that actually all of them have data science components. So my question to you is actually, how many tools can you use to do data analytics? And also my answer to you will be, well, all of them, because actually as data analysts and data scientists, we are working together. And even though my primary focus was to work on the data science domain, it doesn't mean that in my teams, I didn't have data analysts who could help with the interpretation of visualizations and with translating this data into insightful visualizations while I was doing predicting modeling. And so this next slide might be the one which is like the most important for you, and maybe this is the one for which you came here. To complete my idea, my previous idea about learning about these tools, well, actually, technical skills are pretty important. And I want to encourage you to just start doing stuff about that and learn more about them. It's not important if you were like me here in a tabula rasa mode, because actually you need to start from somewhere. And everyone needs to start from somewhere, because no one is born knowing this information. And maybe you are at some point where you figured it out. Maybe my previous job is not so interesting. I want to learn more about the data domain. I want to integrate the data analytics role, or I even want to improve my current job with more data analytics tools, which is great. And so for this, actually, you need some skills. You need 3 areas to work on if you are interested in this domain. And fortunately, there are a lot of bootcamps and schools out there that you can contact for that, Wagon being among them. And from my experience, they are doing a great job at teaching a lot of these tools that I'm recommending here. But you need to start from somewhere. And having a good structure to start from somewhere is very important. So that's why I organize the technical skills in 3 big areas. The first one of them is having knowledge of programming languages such as Python or R. Familiarity with these languages is important if you want to work on data manipulation and analysis tasks. Writing scripts, for example, for automatizing data cleaning processes, data transformation, and statistical analysis is going to be easier for you if you have basic knowledge of these programming tools, or at least one of them. From my experience, I started with R, but I continued with Python. Nowadays, companies require more Python than R. So if I were to choose and recommend you some of these tools, which one to choose from these tools, I would say start with a Python introductory course, which will help you learn more about how to visualize data once you import it into, let's say, a notebook in Python. I also have courses on that in French, unfortunately for you. But yeah, please don't hesitate to refer to Le Wagon also for these inquiries. So programming languages are important, and whenever you are going to apply for a position of a data analyst role, people are going to also search for some programming skills. And that's why, even though it's not like mandatory to know them, you would have a better chance at getting that dream job through showcasing the fact that you have some experience in this domain. Another important aspect that I would advise you to work on would be to improve your database management knowledge, or understand how relational databases work. So here I also had the chance of working with SQL, structured query language, on some of the databases that my clients presented to me. And it is not rocket science. I'm sure that if I did it and if I was able to learn about how to query a particular database and filter that database by using some simple clauses, you are also going to be able to do that. So I would strongly encourage you to start improving your SQL knowledge, because it's very important when you want to collect data and retrieve data or update data or manage data efficiently, to be able to do that through SQL, which is like the universal language of the data engineers nowadays. And you could start just with some simple database management systems, or go through some cloud platforms to do that. For example, Google offers BigQuery. Microsoft also offers SQL systems that you can work with. And there are a lot of courses that you could take so that you understand more about how to query and collect data from a database. And lastly, but not the least, data visualization. This is extremely important, not only for a data analyst, but for everyone who is working with data, because at the end of the day, you want to extract insights. And these insights, in case of a data analyst, are more based on past and present data, whereas for data scientists, these insights might be based on future data that you are predicting previously with some machine learning models. And so representing data in a graphical form or in visual formats is important for helping your colleagues understand and see what the insights of the data show them and how they can act based on these insights that you are presenting to them. That's also why I said communication skills are extremely important, because if you are presenting these insights through a nice data visualization, but you don't know how to present and then like physically explaining what each graph means and what is your interpretation on it, it would be difficult to transmit your knowledge to the people, to the people who actually should be receiving that knowledge. And so using tools like Tableau or Power BI, or even Python libraries such as Matplotlib or Seaborn for creating visuals is extremely important. And luckily, I had the chance of learning how to use these tools at my previous jobs, and finally to also teach them, because they are very intuitive. And if I were to choose one of them, I would say Power BI is a good starter, because the Power BI has a free version that you can download on your PC through Power BI desktop, and you can start already creating visuals without needing to pay any sort of subscriptions. So yeah, I would say that through this entire slide, the points to remember would be: start learning a bit of Python and SQL, and start doing some visualization with Power BI. These would be like the main assets, the main technical assets that you would have, and I would recommend for you to put in a CV if you are searching for a data analyst position. Of course, I am simplifying all this process, because when you are searching for a data analyst position, you need to search to read what the job description is, and what the technical skills that are required for that job are, and try to adapt from your assets and technical skills them, so that they are pretty similar to what the job description asks for you. So yeah, this is an entire discussion about how to program around preparing for a job interview, or adapting your CV for applying for a job, which is also an important part of our job when we are searching for our dream job. Let's say that. Okay, so actually, you might ask, well, if you are a data scientist, Andrea, why are you able to talk to me about what data analysts should do? And this is because, as I said, well, these positions are intertwining at a certain point. Depending on the size of the company, you as a data scientist may be brought in a position where you should be doing the data analyst job also, or vice versa. The smaller the company is, the more roles in the data domain you are going to have within the company. So, of course, I have experience as a data analyst, but it doesn't mean I did not work as a data analyst for some of the projects that I was involved in. And there are a lot of similarities between these two roles. The first one is the data utilization. Of course, data, I'm just speaking about that since the beginning of the presentation. But both these roles use data to uncover insights and support decision making and drive business decisions and business growth. And domain knowledge, once you have the knowledge about the data and how to use it, is going to become easier for you. And both roles require an understanding for the industry and the domain they work in to make relevant analysis. So you are going to take the data and you are going to extract insights out of it. This is the first component, data utilization. And then you need to understand the domain and have discussions about this with your colleagues so that you actually make relevant analysis based on the domain. Because as I said, there are a lot of domains, the health domain, the finance domain, etc. And you might not be acquainted with all of them, which is completely normal. But once you start extracting insights from these domains, you are going to discuss with colleagues who have more business and domain expertise than you, and you are going to have a better understanding of the relevant information within this domain. And you are going to think about, well, yeah, that makes sense. It is normal to have this situation because my colleague explained me that this is what we are supposed to have. So to give you an example, one of my first roles as a data scientist was to work on a fraud detection case. So I had sensitive information, of course, anonymized information about customer behavior online and their purchase behavior. And so my aim was actually to detect those behaviors that would imply that this is a fraud. And of course, out of thousands of purchases, a couple of them might be a fraud. And I didn't know what the domain knowledge was supposed for me to have to understand how to disseminate and dissociate the good purchases and good behaviors from the bad purchases or the fraudulent behaviors. And I talked to my colleague who was actually an analyst for a bank. And when I found some information about someone who was suspicious, that colleague could come and tell me, yeah, it makes sense because you wouldn't purchase for 1,000 euros something by just spending 3 seconds the time on that page. Normally, the clients who are purchasing 1,000 euros products of 1,000 euros, for example, are spending on average around 20 minutes of time on that particular page or something similar. I'm just giving you an example to tell you that even though I didn't have the domain knowledge, I started to acquire it once I got the data in my hands and I started to study it. So this will be also the case for you as a data analyst, and that was also the case for me as a data scientist. Main differences between data analysts and data scientists. So here I'm referring to two ideas, skill set and focus. The data analyst is proficient or very good in data cleaning, data visualization, reporting, basic statistical analysis, whereas the data scientist has very strong programming skills, is able to perform machine learning and advanced statistical skills. That's why I said that from a data analyst to transition to a data scientist is easier than just starting as a data scientist if you don't have the technical skills. Focus is another area where I see a couple of differences between these two roles. the data analyst primarily focuses on analyzing historical data for insights and reporting, like previous data that happened in the past, whereas the data scientist focuses on predicting future trends, building models, and creating actionable solutions. So the data scientist takes data from the past and works with data that is being predicted in the future, whereas the data analyst, to rephrase it, takes data in the past and tries to see what the patterns are from the data in the past at this point in time. So please don't hesitate to ask your questions in chat. I see there are a couple of them already. No worries, I will address them, of course. So yeah, that would be the difference. So as you see, we are living in the same world, working with the same type of information, which is presented in a data manner, but sometimes we have different sets of skills that set us apart. Communication skills would be the last point here that I want to emphasize. So presenting your findings in a clear, concise way for both technical and non-technical audience is extremely important. And as a data analyst, you are going to do that on a daily basis. So that's why it's important not only to be able to acquire your data and manipulate it, to extract insights from it, but also to present these insights in a clear manner, because it is essential to convey insights to your colleagues and be able to collaborate with them. And this is a sort of a soft skill that I was always looking for my candidates. People who are able to communicate are people who are going to tell me in advance if they have problems and are not going to miss that deadline because they don't want to say they are not able to do it when it was supposed to complete the task. So that's why over communication is something that I like to say a lot, meaning I want to be notified whenever there is a problem. I want to understand and communicate with you whenever it's not a problem, because communication is at the core of what a good professional relationship is all about. So working with teams to understand their data needs and provide insights in the context of data knowledge that we just said earlier is also extremely important. And collaboration is always going to be appreciated no matter where, especially in the case of a data analyst who really needs to communicate and convey information about its data, or when there are problems to communicate and convey concerns about that particular blocking point. Okay, so we are almost at the end of the presentation. To recap here, we explored why is the data market so important nowadays. We have a lot of demand in this domain, and it's important to understand that the data interpretation necessities are going to grow more and more from now on. That's why this is a good reason for you to choose a career as a data analyst. And of course, I mentioned some other reasons, but a data analyst position is a position that is very well appreciated in a company, brings you in contact with a lot of parties within the company, with different domains, and gives you a high level view of that company's behavior and data. And we also discussed about the essential skills required for success as data analysts. You see, there are a couple of technical skills, but no worries, you can acquire them with patience, with having a good structure and a good learning structure, as well as with staying true to your desires and trying to pinpoint the things where you lack at and where you want to grow and have more knowledge about. So there are a lot of opportunities. The data's exponential growth fuels innovation and transforms industries. There are a lot of job opportunities in this domain, and the demand in various industries is extremely, extremely high. Thank you so much for all these emojis here. And of course, we discussed about why we need to have good analytical skills as a data analyst, have technical skills and communication skills, because these are three areas where we should work towards improving them at any moment, and there is no upper limit, I assure you, in order to become better and better. So I would really want to encourage you, in case you have never worked with this domain, to start thinking about it, because it's a job that will ensure you a lot of rewards, and is going to really help you in your career advancement, in case you want to integrate more data related positions in the future. And so before I'm taking Q&As, you can find me on topmate.io/Andrea Turcu. Here I have data career coaching programs that are personalized, and you can also learn here how to improve your CV, how to work on LinkedIn profile, optimize your job search, or prepare for an interview. And of course, you can find me on LinkedIn and on Topmate, and you can also take this QR code and send me a message in case you are interested to stay in contact with me. So thanks a lot for your patience in this presentation. Thank you, Jessica, for your message. I really appreciate the feedback. Okay, so let's answer to the questions now. And I see Jessica has asked a question. I have very good math skills, but this was not my education or first career focus. Would you suggest taking a statistics course to show that I can do this work? So if you have great math skills, it means, congrats, that it will be easier for you to understand statistical concepts. Nevertheless, mathematics and statistics are two different domains. It means that it will be easier for you to understand how to use statistics if you know mathematics, but it doesn't mean that you will know statistics by default if you know mathematics. So yeah, I want to encourage you to get online and take a look at some of the options that you have on statistics. There are also a lot of free courses out there that you can take a look at before investing money into this. And some of the statistics concepts are going to be useful for you at your job, and some of them not. So if you really want to start with statistics, I would just suggest start taking an introductive class on statistics with Python, which will give you both the possibility of approaching statistics and coding with Python in the same time. So that would be my best answer for you. If you want to learn more statistics, take a statistics course with Python. That would be the best use of your time, Jessica. Okay, I hope I answered to this question. Let's move on. Olga, how is data collected usually? Does it comprise designing online behavior experiments? Yeah, so great question, Olga. Yeah, one of the ways through which you can collect data is actually design experiments and have quizzes where people can answer. But the majority of the way in which data is currently collected is having a sort of an API or even a cookie on websites and enrolling and registering all the information from your behavior on that site on the database of the website's provider. So actually nowadays data is collected easily through just tracking every move, every button that you are clicking on online. And of course, whenever you fill in a form, this information that you provide goes in a structured database that is going to record you as a user or as a row in a particular database. So there are a lot of ways to which companies record data, and the companies who do not record data don't leverage their users very well. So that's why actually some of them are not able to hold water long term and fail to succeed, because they don't understand what the behavior of the people is on their platforms. I hope Olga answered to this question. John, in a typical company, who are the end users of data analyst results? That's a great question. I hope I answered already to this, but the end users are usually project managers, are usually managers in general, people from HR can be also higher level experts and managers, managerial positions, like people who don't have data related skills, but they can take decisions. So for example, I was working on a project about optimizing the amount of money spent on some licenses. And so I had a manager who was interested in seeing how many people are using that tool in comparison to that tool. Is it a good use of our money if we continue buying licenses for a particular product or not? So that was the manager wanting to know more about the information and the behavior of the employees, and wanting my help from the existing data to see what type of decision they should take with respect to keeping or not a particular license. So that's just an example, John, to show you that there are a lot of ways through which you can use data, and the majority of the people who use these insights are the ones who have decisional power to invest money or stop investing money in particular situations, to improve products if it's necessary, or to improve user experience. Next up, Latonia. Okay, I have some basic level informal experience with data analysis, but lack formal training. What coding language would you suggest starting with, R or Python, etc.? Yeah, so I would suggest you start with Python, because this is the universal language nowadays for people who want to work with the data domain. And Python has very, very easy libraries for you to use to ingest data and start modifying the data. So once again, Latonia, I would advise you to take an introductory course with Python that is focused on working with data, so data manipulation. Even though you don't have formal training, it doesn't mean that you cannot access a data analyst job, because it's not the formal training that people need, it's more the skills that people need. Like nowadays, and this is done a lot in the United States and in the in the anglophonic worlds, but also in Europe, I see that the companies are starting to do that. They are interested in people who have those skills more than those diplomas, because the universities are just starting to understand that they need to provide content and courses in this direction. So why not be ahead of the universities and start investing in yourself by taking courses in the data analytics domain, to show that you're ahead of the competition who is just waiting for a formal training. Okay. John, what is a typical working day in a life of a data analyst in general? Is it repetitive and monotonous job? Is the job that are the job tasks the same every day, even though data may be different? That's a great question. So usually you would work with data, but it depends of the types of the projects that you have. Sometimes you might go to the client or in another department. Sometimes you would stay on site. I see that more and more companies are working remotely with data analysts. So actually, you have this possibility of staying remotely if you want to. It's repetitive in the sense that you will always be working with data, but it's extremely exciting because whenever you change the project, you actually change a bit the domain knowledge. So you're not always working with the same type of data, and you will always find new challenges, how to modify this information, how to adapt it, how to better present it. That's why I'm saying start with the data analyst position, and you are going to acquire a lot of skills along the way, just because it's repetitive in terms of getting your data better and understanding it better, but it's not monotonous because actually you are going to learn about so many domains, and you might change the tools, you might change the colleagues, and it's always extremely interesting. So for me, this role is very, very interesting. That's why I'm also encouraging people to integrate it. Latonia, How do you see the constant rise of AI impacting the future of the job market for data analysts? That's a great question, Latonia. So it is true that AI nowadays starts to also show capabilities in analyzing data and creating visualizations without you writing code or without you using visualization tools. What I say about the rise of AI is that we shouldn't be afraid of it. We should embrace it, because by the end of the day, AI will not change the jobs, will not actually take our jobs. We will just need to adapt to better use the AI so that we can actually stay in front of the crowd. So actually, the jobs of people that were more creating machine learning programs or visualizations will be replaced with jobs of people who will interpret what AI is doing and how AI is treating that particular information. So that's why I'm encouraging you to embrace this AI revolution, because this can change our society for the better. And so the data analysts are not going to be impacted, that's for the moment, for about the AI rise. But I would suggest you to stay focused on investing in improving your skills, because human intervention will always be necessary, at least for the next decades. So AI will not steal data analyst positions, but you are there to also facilitate AI do a better job, and maybe assist the AI tools to integrate in the company's systems better. So I hope I answered to this question. The idea is, once again, to embrace this revolution, because the ones that are doing that are starting to have access to more resources and be more efficient at their jobs. And the data analysts are definitely going to profit based on AI. Romy, you are asking, what is the career path for a data analyst? What comes next as they increase seniority in an organization? Great question. So data analyst, well, you would start as a junior data analyst, then you would have a couple of years of experience, 3 to 5, to become a data analyst. You can migrate to a job such as business analyst, which would be an analyst with data analytics skills, but with more knowledge in the business domain. You could also migrate to a data science position if that's something that is of interest to you. Any sort of data related job actually is accessible to a data analyst if that data analyst is willing to involve themselves in more time spent on coding, or actually learning how to use different visualization tools and different databases. So to increase in seniority means that you will be a senior data analyst. Also, you will manage teams of data analysts. You will also be able to work on projects and manage projects that involve data analysts or data analysis in general. The limits are endless, which means that there are no limits. Like, it only depends of your eagerness to put in the work, to show your interest, to advance, to put yourself out there, and to present your best image and let people know that you are willing to advance in your career. Because if this is the case, I wouldn't want to stop you, right? So the decision and the choice is yours. I hope I answered to this question. 2 more questions to go. John is asking, is data warehousing, data lakes, and data mining part of data analysis? That's a great question, John. I would say that these skills are more data engineering skills, and even data science skills, than data analysis, because actually we do need, you are right, we do need knowledge about database in general, and about querying our our database. But data warehousing and data lakes means, for example, more knowledge in the engineering domain, in the sense that you would be working with a lot of databases, how to store the information, how to set up servers, how to make that information accessible, in which way that information is being stored. And so I would say that data warehousing and data lakes are things that the data engineer would do more, and data mining would be something that the machine learning engineer would do more. But the data analysis component doesn't actually require you storing the data somewhere in a particular structure, which doesn't block you from learning this point, these skills. And especially in the case where you are working in a small company who needs both data analytics and both data engineering skills, at that point you might need to do both of them if you are interested. So that's why I'm saying data analysis doesn't involve that, but if you want to go in this domain, you can definitely do it. So I hope I answered to this question. Chirag is asking tips for fresher in data analysis domain. So for people who are just entering into the data analysis domain. Okay, so I hope I gave some of the tips. And yeah, my slide once again, I am going to put it here so that you have it in mind. As a fresher, so as a person who just finished college or university, you might not have all these tools in your arsenal, which is okay. But please keep them in mind, because technical skills are very important. And knowing programming languages, some SQL language, and data visualization is always going to be important. So if you have this slide in mind, and if you start actively working into improving your technical skills in this direction, well, that's all you need to make your debut into the data analysis domain. And what I would encourage to prove your experience even more would be to maybe start working on a portfolio that showcases this is the type of project that I did, with visualizing with some graphs showing, based on a particular data set, let's say, my interpretation of what I got. This is the type of visualization that I did with Python. It's more important to show, to concretely show to the people that you have these skills, than just tell them about it. So that's why, if I have two candidates with the same amount of experience and the same skills, the one that shows me a portfolio is prone to actually compare, like to make me trust that what they are doing is actually for real. So this is my advice to you. I really hope it was useful. And with this, I think I'm going to complete my presentation. I hope that it was insightful for you and useful. And thank you once again, Wagon, for organizing this. I really enjoyed.
Yes, thank you very much, Andrea, for sharing all this useful information with us. It has been a pleasure, actually, to have you as a speaker.
Thank you.
And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Actually, I will be sharing with you some information tomorrow about our data analysis and data science courses in Wagon. So maybe if you are interested, or you have any questions, feel free to reply to this email. And also, you will receive the recording of this talk right after the talk finishes. So thank you very much, everyone, again, and I hope to see you soon in our next workshops. And thank you, Andrea, once again.
Thank you so much. Good luck with your data analysis career, and let's find each other in another occasions organized by the Wagon. Thank you.
Yes, I'm sure.
Have a nice
Thank
day.
you. Bye-bye.